This is Bishop Michael Burbidge, and you are listening to the Walk Humbly podcast.
Welcome to the Walk Humbly podcast. I'm Billy Atwell, Chief Communications Officer for the Diocese and your co-host. We want to thank those who have contributed to the Bishop's Lenten Appeal. You make this podcast possible. You support so many ministries throughout the diocese, and we just want to say thank you. If you haven't yet, please rate this podcast or write a review wherever you're listening. Sign up for our e-newsletter at arlingtondiocese.org. You can follow Bishop Burbidge on Twitter or Instagram, and on Twitter you can read a short gospel reflection every day from our bishop. Follow the Diocese on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Send your questions for Bishop Burbidge to info@arlingtondiocese.org or simply message us on social media. We are recording on location from WorkCamp 2023, where hundreds of volunteers are gathered for a week of faith and service to those in most need. It's a very full podcast with some great questions from young folks here and a special guest as well. So before we dig any deeper, I welcome your host, Bishop Burbidge. Bishop, how you doing?
Billy, I'm doing well. It is so wonderful to be here. This is always one of my favorite podcasts of the year because we are in the company of, as you said, hundreds and hundreds of wonderful young people from our diocese who are giving this week to God in prayer and in a special way in service of people who need their assistance in improving their lifestyle and their living conditions. So it's always inspiring and encouraging to be here with our young people and Kevin Bohli and his team.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk a lot about WorkCamp. Before we do, I want to ask about a couple initiatives. One, you just got back from the U.S. Conference of Bishops spring meeting. I was curious if there are any highlights you want to bring us in on.
Well, one of the highlights for me is just being together with my brother bishops. We really only get to see each other twice a year. And so for me, it's always, it just lifts me a little bit just to see some bishop friends from around the country talk to each other, share each other's stories, sometimes say, oh, you have that issue too, you know? And you're just kind of reminded that you're not in it alone, that we're in it together. And I think our people, the faithful, would be very proud of their bishops. We pray together, we spend time together, and even in all of our discussions and deliberations, there really is a sign of respect and unity. Not that we agree on every issue, but I think the faith would be very proud to see their bishops together.
That's wonderful. We're in our second year of preparation for our 50th anniversary, our Golden Jubilee. You travel throughout the diocese a lot, especially as of late. I was curious if you've heard anything from people. What are they saying about this milestone?
Well, it's as you mentioned, this is our second year of preparation. Our first year was the theme "Remember," focus on the Holy Eucharist. This second year of preparation is rejoice, echoing the words of our Blessed Mother, my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. So our focus is all the efforts and initiatives to help us to grow in our love for Mary and our allowing her to play more of an important role in our lives because she's our mother. And she wants to walk with us and to accompany with us. And I'm really proud of how our diocese, in so many ways, and a lot of great work from your office, to help people to draw closer to Mary. I'm hearing many great things about the Mary Explained series that is done by your wonderful team here. Very, very excellent series with people talking from their own experiences and their own knowledge of Mary. I think people would really appreciate that. We have opportunities for people to pray the rosary with our religious sisters, and I think that's on the YouTube channel. We, as people see in the Catholic Herald, Marian articles are also available on our Jubilee website. We had Archbishop Rolio, our president of the Bishops' Conference, and
yeah, that's right.
For Archbishop for Military Services, gave a wonderful keynote on our Blessed Mother. I think all of this is available.
Yeah, so if you go to jubilee.arlingtondiocese.org, all of those resources we have on Mary, we've put in one place to make it easy to find. But yeah, his talk was excellent. Yeah, the videos are good. But whether you want to read something, listen, watch, there's something there for you to learn a little bit more about our Blessed Mother and pray with her as well. This Thursday is going to be the beginning of Religious Freedom Week. This is an issue I know you've talked about a lot, especially in the last year, as some troubling events have happened in our country. Is there anything in particular you want people to think about during Religious Freedom Week?
Yeah, there's a number of things. As you mentioned, I'll be celebrating, we'll begin with our celebration at the St. Thomas More Cathedral Burke Hall on Thursday to begin the Religious Freedom Week. It's a time that we're called to act and to pray and to witness. And what an important time to highlight Religious Freedom Week. One of our greatest liberties is our religious liberty. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, as we see in our own country, and sadly throughout the world, attacks on religious freedom, where people are paying a very, very difficult price just for living their faith or speaking about their faith. I'm sure many of our listeners experience that in their own daily situations. Yeah. Sometimes right in the workplace or in school. But even so, we're seeing increased violence and discrimination against Catholics in our own country. And while it may seem unfathomable, impossible to believe that something like WorkCamp, even what we're doing here, could one day be banned in the future, we have to accept that reality that without major changes, our ability to minister in the future could be severely limited. Yeah. So this is why it's so important to acknowledge the issue, to be a voice about it. What we believe and know to be true is at odds with the popular culture of our world. I'm sure our young people could tell us a lot about that. And there are increasing consequences for standing up for what is true. I spoke during the last podcast about a group of agitators who put on a grotesque and anti-Catholic demonstration mocking religious sisters. And the Los Angeles Dodgers welcomed this group with open arms, giving them a place of honor and privilege at a major sporting event. And this is the stuff that cannot continue. We accept and we respect people and their life situations, even though we may not agree, the position or what they stand for. But when you use that position to attack or to make fun of, to discriminate against, that has to be unacceptable. So each day of Religious Freedom Week has a theme. I encourage everyone to go to our website to see those themes and incorporate them into your daily prayers. Some of the themes this year is respect for sacred places. We've seen in our own diocese vandalism against sacred statues. Seal of confession is something else that is under attack. Nicaragua, religious persecution, religious student groups, religious freedom in Nigeria, faith at work. So all these are available on the website, but we can't be naive. This is a reality certainly throughout the world in very, very serious ways, but even right here at home.
Yeah, and the USCCB provides great resources for that. So you can go to our website and see them, or to the USCCB site to understand the themes and to understand them a little bit more. Because we talked about some of these, like Nicaragua. We spoke about that before. The bishop was imprisoned there for not shutting down a Catholic radio station. It's a very real issue there, but it's also an issue in Nigeria and other countries. So we've highlighted that there if you want to go take a look. So next, I welcome a guest that people are getting used to on this these WorkCamp podcasts, Kevin Bohli, the Executive Director for Youth Campus and Young Adult Ministry. Kevin, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, Billy. Thank you for having me. It's always great to be a part of this, and for making this a priority in your schedules to come out here and be with the young people is very important. Thank you.
Yeah, Kevin, what you and your team, the opportunity you provide for our young people, I'm just so grateful to all of you. I know it's a lot of hard work, and it goes throughout the whole year. To allow for this week. But Kevin, for those who are hearing about WorkCamp for the first time, explain to them maybe the history of the WorkCamp and how far it's come.
Yeah, so WorkCamp started in 1989. Anybody that's familiar with the Bishop's Lenten Appeal knows that a member of your staff, Bob Mueller, who runs that great appeal, he was a director of youth ministry at St. Michael's in Annandale back in the day, and so he started inviting young people to a WorkCamp, and once he went there, he realized, hey, we can do this on our own. And so he got a few parishes together back in 1989, and they started something called Hammer Time, which that name itself lets you, it dates there a little bit. And so from there it grew. I came to WorkCamp in 1994 for the first time as a contractor. I was an engineer at the time. And then that began a process of discernment in my own life that maybe God was calling me to do something other than being an engineer. And so I ended up leaving my engineering job and took over this position running the camp back in 2001, and we've been building it ever since. So it started as 20 teens, and now this year we're over 600 teens here.
600?
Yes.
And how many like volunteers? Because I know you have to have professional contractors and
That's right.
volunteers, supervision.
Yep.
What's that look like?
Yeah, so all told, there's about 1,100 people here living in this school for the week. So you've the 600 young people, and then you have about 150 contractors, about 150 young adults. We have a whole home-based team, security team, and that doesn't even begin to count all the moms and dads back at home that make our lunches, and they deliver the lunches throughout the week. Each parish signs up. We have volunteer security that come every night as well. So all told, it's over 1,100 people here for the week.
Every aspect of the program is volunteers.
Yes.
We do it all.
Exactly. It's all volunteers.
It says a lot about the people of our diocese, doesn't it?
That's right. And they come back year after year. I'll get a phone call next week, from some contractor saying, hey, I got to sign up for my leave next year, and I want to make sure I get WorkCamp on the calendar.
That's incredible. Incredible generosity. And as you know, Kevin, including students with intellectual and developmental disabilities in our schools and parishes is very much a high priority for us in the Diocese of Arlington. And you made this a priority for WorkCamp. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's right. I met with a group of moms. There was a group of moms at All Saints that they just support one another, talking about they all have children with disabilities, and they just support one another. And I went to them and said, hey, we'd love to put a camp together for young people with disabilities. And they said they weren't interested. They said, we want our kids at WorkCamp. And so I was like, oh, that's different. And so that was a real challenge. And so we've, for the past couple of years, have made that a real priority to make sure that young people with disabilities can be here. And so when we work with the parishes, we say the first people we want you to consider are young people with disabilities. So don't first fill it with other young people, able-bodied people. The first people we want you to think of are the kids in the parish that you wouldn't think of going to a work camp. And so, we have people here, on all sorts of disabilities as well. And so we meet with the parents to make sure that we're ready for them, that we have their dietary needs taken care of, their safety needs. But that's become a big goal of ours as well, to make sure that all young people can participate at WorkCamp.
And they're working side by side with their friends and their peers.
Absolutely. Working right alongside them with very important roles on their crews.
Yeah, because everyone here does work.
That's true. It's
a
WorkCamp
long
for a
day's
reason.
work. Our young people
right.
probably the young people sitting here are all shaking their head. Yes,
they're putting on a roof right now, which is an amazing job, and saving. It's an amazing job. Yeah.
And I teased a little bit, but it really wasn't teasing. It really does begin like a year out almost, the preparation, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're always looking for the school that'll host us, and then right away we have to start finding the residents that we're going to be serving.
Right. And how about the post-COVID thing? Any challenges getting back, or?
No, praise God, we've done really well. Our numbers, like right before COVID, we were up to 850 teens, and then since then we've had a few parishes dropped out, and each parish has had fewer participants. But I think we're slowly building back, and so fortunately, COVID hopefully will just be a bump in the history, but we'll keep growing.
And we're grateful to our neighbor, this community, for welcoming us, right?
Yeah, just to find any school system in today's day and age that's willing to open up their doors and give us every square inch of their school. They think we're crazy at first when we come and we say we're going to have 1,100 people live in your building for the week, and they think we're crazy. But then by the end of the week, they find it very impressive to see how we can make this happen. And sometimes they actually come back to us because most of these schools are the emergency shelters for some sort of an emergency. And they've never had people live here. And suddenly we come in and we have 1,100 people living here for a week, and they want to see how we do it.
Wow, that's great. That's great. And you and I, we've spoken in the past about how this is not just about service, but it is about tremendous service touching the lives of so many people. We'll let our young people tell us a little bit about that. But this is also about prayer. So tell people about the spiritual aspect of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we call it WorkCamp, but really everything is focused on us becoming a part of a community that's focused on living out the Gospels. So we start out the first night, I read the Acts of the Apostles, the early church. It shows how they lived together, they broke bread together, they shared everything in common, they served one another. And that's really what WorkCamp is about. By living this experience for a week and serving those around us, we're going to experience the joy. And so we spend time in prayer every day. We break the bread. Every morning we have Mass together, and then we go forth, and these young people spend time in prayer driving to the site. They spend time in prayer at lunch, on the way home, and then tonight there's a lot of prayer associated with everything. And even before they go to bed, they do a daily examine. So the goal is that by living this experience throughout the week, they're going to grow in their faith life. And that's ultimately our goal here, is not so much about building wheelchair ramps. It's about each one of us doing service for God, our understanding how much we love God, and it's a response. And so that hopefully all of us grow in our faith lives by the end of the week.
And tonight's one of my favorite nights of the year, because soon we'll see 30-some priests here who are so generous, and they'll be here to celebrate the sacrament of penance, confession for our young people. And then we have a little rally, and then the procession of the Blessed Sacrament, which is so reverent and so devout and just an inspiration. So it's so important that our what we do here is rooted in prayer. We go forth in service.
Amen. That's right.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you to you and your
Bishop.
team for all that you're doing.
Before we bring in our young folks, Bishop, I was thinking about the location. We're here in Frederick County, just outside of Winchester. It must just really inspire you to think of all the priests that come here, because it's not like it's real accessible to most of our priests. They're coming from quite a distance to hear those confessions. I'm sure as their bishop, you're just overjoyed with that participation.
I truly am. Yeah, and it's great to see our seminarians here with our young people as well.
It is. It absolutely is. So welcome. So, all right. So we have one of our crews from WorkCamp here with us. I was wondering if you could just each go around, just introduce your name, your parish, and what school you go to.
Of course. My name is D'Angelo. My home parish is St. Anthony of Padua, and my school I recently just graduated was Alexandria City High School.
Very good.
Congratulations, D'Angelo.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is PA. I go to St. Patrick's, and I attend the Summit Academy in Fredericksburg.
Very good.
Hi, my name is Charlie. My parish is Holy Trinity in Gainesville, Virginia. I just graduated from Holy Family Academy in Manassas. I'm planning on going to Christendom next year.
Great. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
My name's Emily. I go to Holy Spirit, and I'm homeschooled.
Okay.
My name is also Emily. I go to St. Teresa, which is in Ashburn, and then I go to St. John Bosco, which is like a new school in Sterling.
Wow, that's great.
Now, in church history, when there's two saints of the same name, one's the greater and one's the lesser, but I don't think we should do that.
So it's great. So you become members of a crew. Did you know each other before this week? No.
I knew PA over here.
Okay.
I go to a Holy Family, and he goes to Summit, and they're
Okay.
similar schools. We play each other in sports. And
So that's one of the best things about WorkCamp, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone gets on different crews, and you meet people from all around the diocese. So what made you come here? Like, what inspired you to? Because it's a big commitment. It's giving up an entire week and getting up early every morning and going to bed late every night after a hard day's work. What made you want to come?
well, last year I came, and at first, I was skeptical about coming, skeptical about it.
Yeah.
But I came. I had a really great time. Met a lot of people. It was fun seeing people from all over the diocese, people who shared the same religious background,
Right.
had the same interests as me. Just helping others, being an example of Christ to those we are helping.
Oh, thanks.
Just the impact we had on their lives.
Right.
Just made you feel happy, and so I wanted to come back. And
Enough that you came back, right,
Yeah.
Charlie? That's great.
So,
Is this your first time, anyone?
First time in person.
First time in person?
Yeah.
So tell us about what made you want to take the leap and come here, D'Angelo.
So 2 years ago, we had a WorkCamp in our home parish during COVID.
Right.
And so our church, we just had a few minor problems, but the church made it really fun for us. And it was my first time meeting new people in our church.
Oh, okay.
And so I couldn't go last year, the first year when we came back. I broke my finger, but this year I saw the chance and the opportunity, so I took it. And I've met these great people and so many more, and I've just been having fun and working at the same time.
Oh, that's great, D'Angelo. How about you, Emily?
I went to WorkCamp last year for the first time, and I came back this year because WorkCamp was such an amazing faith-building experience for me, and I just grew so much in my faith that week last summer that I decided to come back and see how God works in my life again.
Wow, that's great.
I came back to WorkCamp because I love the idea of helping others and growing in my faith, and I think all the people around me are all super nice and super real, and we all get to pray together and see all the teens come together, and it's nothing like going to like I don't know, some concert where it's not appropriate or people are making inappropriate jokes. It's just all clean and nice.
That's great. How about you, Pia?
Yeah, kind of like Charlie. Last year, first year, I was a little on the fence about it, and then I enjoyed it so much. And then this year, I was like, why wouldn't I go? Last year it was so much fun. There's nothing else better to do than doing God's will. That's the happiest. I feel like for everybody, that's the happiest that you'll be like ever doing His will, helping other people in need. It's just the best feeling.
It always brings us joy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we look for joy in the wrong places, and many times it comes to doing God's will and loving Him and serving others. That's what the Lord taught us. Can I keep you on the spot there, PA? What about this week so far? Has anything happened that has had an impact in your life so far this week?
I mean, yeah, yesterday I was talking to one of the priests about just some advice, and he gave some really good advice. So, I mean, the people, like, just talking to the priest here and everything is just amazing. Like, I was just hanging out with my friends, and then I saw a priest just walking around, and it's like, you know what, I have a question, I'm going to ask him about it. And then I just did, and, like, it was great. Like, just the convenience of having that was amazing.
That's great, and it just happens naturally because you're here at the same campus, and so that's a wonderful opportunity. How about anyone else? Anything so far this week that has had an impact on you that or experience so far that you'd like to share, D'Angelo?
So at nighttime, we have the 4 Ps and our parish discussions. Well, it's our parish discussions, and I just feel like that's been...
Tell us what the 4 Ps are.
Oh, I can't really remember.
Mr. Bohli can help you out.
Okay, so 4 Ps is what we mean when we say go to bed. So it's pearly whites, meaning brushing your teeth; pajamas, meaning getting ready for bed; it's potty, and then it's prayer. And so they all go and do their daily exam. And so we call that the 4 Ps.
All essentials.
So I feel like our prayer discussions, at least last night, we had our adult leader, James Castro, and one of the priests come in, and I feel like we just really opened up a lot more than I thought we would, because usually a group of boys will just stay quiet. But yesterday we really opened up. We had so many questions that I just didn't expect it, and it was really nice to hear so many people.
So yeah, that trust builds up a little bit, and
definitely.
then you feel like you can open up and share. So that's wonderful. How about the people you're helping, right? You're helping, I mean, to put a new roof or a new deck. Someone told me when I came in today that their crew is working on trying to get water to a house that someone has not had running water for 2 years. So it's incredible. How about the reactions or the people you're helping? What have you encountered from the people you've met, Charlie?
Our owner, our homeowner, he's very grateful for our help. We're very grateful for him. He's helping us out. He has a tractor. The other day he has a tractor, and the other day he was helping us take out the shingles off his roof and dragging it to the trash can.
Oh, okay. So he was working
us
along
out.
with you.
Yeah, he was working alongside us with us yesterday. Yeah. And from what I can tell, he's very grateful for our help, and we're very grateful for him. He's very nice to us. So
that is fantastic. Yeah.
I'm curious, when you tell other people, whether it's friends or family or someone, that you're coming to work camp, what was the reaction that people gave to you?
Man, they couldn't believe me.
Why is that?
They thought I was crazy. They were like, a week? For a week? I was like, yeah, man, a week. But hey, I'm having fun. I'm having a great time. And I really want, if they can come next year, I really hope they can.
The reaction I got from like a lot of my friends was, Emily, why are you going to work camp? That sounds so boring. You're gone for a week. You can't bring your phone. What? That's really the reaction I got, which I don't understand personally, but I guess just hearing the name, sometimes it could sound a little unappealing, but it's really fun. So I told them they should come next year, see what it's all about.
Yeah, I explained it to a friend actually that I was talking to on the way here, and I said, it's work camp, and he's like, it kind of sounds like prison camp. I said, well, it's not, I promise. Like, everyone's a volunteer.
So you don't have your phones?
No phones.
For the whole week?
Yeah.
How's that adjustment?
I mean, it's nice, like, getting away from it for a week. It's like a retreat.
Yeah.
In that way.
It's like a retreat, right?
Yeah.
So.
I've been able to open up to a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I think that's the reason why I've met new friends from different churches, because usually on Snapchat you'll just meet new people, but it's all virtual, Right. Nothing's in person. And now I've met great people here, and now we work together for 4 days at a site, and I've never actually done roofing. So this is a new experience for me, but they've helped me along the way. So
you're learning something along the way, sure.
It's a great skill too. I've been having so much fun.
But D'Angelo, you made a good point. When you put away the technology, it's not just being in contact with people. Now without the phone, you encounter people really, right?
Engage with others as well.
Right, and engagement. Yeah, it changes everything of how you speak to someone, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've met new people. We have games during dinner time.
Yeah.
And I've just been meeting new people there and then I'd go during lunch. It's just been really, really fun.
Yeah. Emily, what were you going to say? How's life without the phone?
I love being at this camp where a bunch of teenagers do not have their phone for a week because I feel like I can actually personally connect with more people than we would if we all had phones.
Right.
Because it's a big distraction in our lives.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with what Emily was saying. Like, the phones are, like, just a distraction, and, like, just, honestly, they cause more, I mean, it does, like, distract you, and it makes you, like, it puts you in other people's lives, and then it just causes, like, it can cause a lot of drama. So, like, just the week without the phone is just, like, everything's so much real. Like, it's in person. Like, there's nothing on the phone that you can't do that you can do vice versa. There's nothing on the phone that you can't do that you can do in person.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's a sense of freedom almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson to learn now. You know, you can build in kind of mini tech retreats, you know, in your own life. Just decide, okay, for this week I'm going to put it down. For this day, you know, or even just for a few hours, you can be surprised how instinctive it is to just want to grab that phone and distract yourself. But I think spiritually too, it opens you up to God, to allow Him to enter your thoughts, and you're not just, you know, kind of occupying your mind with whatever, you know, app you've got opened up.
Emily, so if you were going to give advice to someone who's listening to this podcast saying, I wonder if I should do that next year or not, what would you say to that person?
I think I would say that it is a opportunity that you probably won't really find anywhere. And you get together with such amazing people who are genuine and nice and share your faith, and you get to help people. And I think the feeling after, like, you finish your project, I mean, I felt this last year. It was just like, wow, like, we worked together. Like, we didn't know how to do this, and we worked together. We figured it out. We were helpful. We prayed. And it was just like a great experience. And I don't think you'll get that anywhere else.
Right. That's wonderful. Well, that is very, very good advice.
Very good. Well, I want to thank you all. I appreciate the work that you're doing. Obviously, you're helping someone in need, and that's good. But I also love that you're serving each other and, you know, getting to know each other and sharing your spiritual lives with one another. That's a great gift to others as well. So thank you for joining us here on the podcast. I'm very grateful for your time.
And I would like to just say, to our listeners, just being with these 5 wonderful young people is just so inspiring. And thank you for being part of this conversation. And you represent the hundreds of young people that are here today. And I think the faithful in our diocese would be just so proud, as I am, of all of you. So thanks for the faithful witness that you're giving to all of us. We really appreciate it.
All right, Bishop, we have a couple. We went around and asked some questions of the young folks here, and so we've gathered a few of them. If you don't mind,
people from this table or from the
out in the hallways.
Okay.
On the work sites.
All right.
So the first is Naya. She's from St. Mary of the Immaculate Conception. She says, "What does Bishop like to do in his free time?" Which I have to admit was the first question in last year's podcast, but it was asked again. So I figured, all right, well, people want to know.
Well, that's good. So yeah, I enjoy it in free time. I think people on this podcast know by now I'm a big sports fan.
Yeah.
So one of the ways I relax is I love being able to have a chance to watch a sporting event, whether it be a baseball game, a football game, a basketball game, or something like that. That really helps to get my mind off things a lot. I do like movies a lot. I exercise. I try in my free time, try to exercise a great deal. Try to read before I go to bed. And I do save up time, 2 weeks a year that are very important to me. One is a week that I spend with other priest friends, and we go to a different U.S. city each year. We all like history, a little country music, things like that. But as these young people are talking about together, that chance of just being with one another is so important. And then I spend another week with my family, vacation with grandnieces and nephew and all those things. Then I come back from that week to get another vacation after being with. No, I'm only kidding.
I always say vacations with kids are called trips.
Trips.
They're not exactly. Now, are Philly sports really relaxing for you though? Because you get into it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'm sure it's relaxing.
Yeah, I know that is true.
It's a good distraction.
As I'm pacing back and forth, I said I thought this was me helping me get rid of stress.
Well, we always know on Monday. We know Saturday evening what Monday is going to be like with Bishop Burbidge when the scores finish. Yeah. So Gloria from Holy Trinity says, what does the diocese have in store for its 50th anniversary next year?
That's a great question. I love talking about this. So we're going to be 50 years old as a diocese. So we were founded in 1974. So we're going to have a big celebration. And we're going to have 3 events that are going to mark our Golden Jubilee. One is a family festival that we've had the last 2 years. But this one's going to be even on a larger scale. Just want to tell you that, Mr. Bohli.
Yeah, get ready.
And so it's going to be a big family festival out in the fairgrounds, campgrounds. We're going to ask everyone in the diocese will be invited. It'll be beautiful, real relaxing day. And then that will be in June. And then in September will be the actual kind of solemn Jubilee Mass of Thanksgiving, where the Apostolic Nuncio representing the Holy Father, bishops from around the country and province, and all representatives, every parish in the diocese will be represented at the Mass at the cathedral. So that would be the Mass of Thanksgiving. And then the following month, in October, will be our pilgrimage, our Jubilee pilgrimage to the Basilica Shrine in D.C.
In Maryland.
Yeah. What's that?
The Basilica. Oh, the Basilica Shrine in D.C. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we also have a pilgrimage to Mount St. Mary's.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, to Mount St. Mary's. That's for year 2. But
Yeah.
this will be for Jubilee. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of great opportunities.
Yeah, a lot of good things going on.
Again, so jubilee.arlingtondiocese.org is where you can go for all of the events going on each year. And so as we have more and we get the final details of something, we post it there. That's your home base. You're going to hear it from us on the podcast and emails, but there's a lot of great opportunities coming up. And then Sean from Good Shepherd says, when does Bishop sleep? Now, I don't know if he assumes you're nocturnal maybe or what this might be, but yeah, so what's your sleep schedule like?
Fortunately, I don't need a lot of sleep, so that's good.
That's good.
But we all need rest. And one of the best advice I've received, this is good for young people too, I think, from my spiritual director, and it's very helpful, is that we have to be comfortable at a reasonable time at the end of the day to say, okay, Lord, that's enough. I've given you my best today. I've worked as hard as I can, but now I just have to leave it all in your hands and go to bed and relax and pray, God, you give me another day to love and serve you. And I think that sometimes we don't, we can easily fall in the trap of doing is that we just keep going and going and going, whether it's studying or working or whatever, until you collapse, right? And that's not really healthy, right? We have to stay strong physically and spiritually and emotionally. I always use the words of Pope Francis. He says when his priests would tell him that they were tired, he would say, good. That means you worked hard, right? So you're tired today because you worked hard. That's a good thing. But he says, I would only get worried when they told me they were exhausted. Because when they're exhausted, then they're not waking up excited and refreshed to start a new day, right? And so I always try to keep that in mind. There's always more work to do. I know my own life as a diocesan bishop and your own life as students, we could study a little bit more, we could do this, but you have to be able to say, and then for all, that does vary from person to person, how many hours of sleep you need, but it is important to take care of our bodies. We're temples of the Holy Spirit, right?
That's an excellent answer. Thank you very much. The last question is from Jaron, who's from Nativity Parish. So, what in your life has been your greatest obstacle in getting closer to God, and who has helped you get closer to God? Yeah,
that's a great question. I never really had a faith crisis. Growing up, I know a number of my friends have and family members have, and have come back and all. I never had a crisis, but I think probably the biggest challenge in my faith life was I became complacent, where I was just comfortable doing what I was doing because I did the basics. And then there was a very good priest in my home parish when I began speaking with him a little bit, and he challenged me a little bit on that. He said, is this as strong as your relationship can be with the Lord and the church, or can you take it to the next step? And I was like, yeah, there's probably a lot more I can do. And so I think, it can happen to all of us that we just become comfortable, complacent, rather than saying, no, this is ongoing, and every day is an opportunity to deepen the relationship. So I think complacency was probably my biggest struggle.
That's so true. Yeah, I heard once that you're either moving forward or backward in faith. It's kind of like physical health. You're either taking care of yourself or you're not. There's no middle ground there.
Yeah.
Bishop, any final thoughts before we close out?
No, I would just ask all of our listeners to continue to pray for our young people here on WorkCamp. That through the intercession of St. Joseph, our Lord will bless them and protect them. They're doing some hard work, and so we ask the Lord to protect them out in the work sites and to keep them under His care, and also to bless the people they are serving, that they will see in these young people the face of Christ and His compassion and His great love for them, and pray that our young people here at the WorkCamp and all of us will continue to walk humbly with our God.
Thank you for listening to the Walk Humbly podcast. Make sure you check out more episodes on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. You can follow me on Twitter at Bishop Burbidge, where I offer gospel reflections each morning and share photos and updates of what is going on in the Diocese of Arlington.